In the ancient kingdom of Joseon, where honor-forged blades and whispers could kill faster than steel, power flowed like river water, beautiful, dangerous, and rarely clean. At the heart of the palace lived Queen So-hwa, beloved by the people for her gentle wisdom, and despised by those who saw in her purity a threat, for in a world built on ambition, innocence is often the first enemy. And So-hwa carried within her not just hope, but heirship, life, a future, a son born not from strategy, but from love. But palace halls, though gilded, can be cruel, and envy sharpens faster than swords. It began with silence, a servant trembling under candlelight, a warning whispered behind trembling lips. And then, footsteps, dozens, armed, swift, merciless. The queen's chambers burst open, not with honor, but fire. So-hwa fled barefoot through corridors gilded in treachery, the weight of her unborn child dragging breath from her lungs. Flames licked the tapestries as guards loyal only to ambition closed in. But a mother's love is stronger than any crown. She escaped the palace grounds, cloak torn, vision blurred. Rain poured as if heaven itself mourned. Hours later, beneath a willow by a river, she brought life into a world that rejected her. A son, Joon. She pressed a royal pendant to his swaddling cloth, a symbol of truth and danger. And with her last breath, she whispered, "Live, even if I cannot." Dawn painted the river gold, her body stilled, but her son's cry rose like a prophecy. A humble farmer and his wife found him, wrapped in destiny and sorrow. They took him home, not as orphan, but as gift. Joon grew in sunlight and soil, feet bare, heart wide, calluses forming where silk would one day rest. He did not know he belonged to a throne. He knew only harvest seasons, mother's warm laughter, father's quiet guidance, mud under his fingernails, rice bending in gentle wind. Yet some nights he would catch the pendant glinting in firelight, and an ache, nameless, ancient, stirred in his chest. Where did I come from? Who am I meant to be? His mother simply smiled. A man's worth is not where he's born, but what he becomes. Years passed, bandits roamed the roads, corruption strangled the weak, and Joon, now grown, traveled to a nearby village to trade harvests. Night fell as he returned through the woods. A scream, steel, footsteps. He rushed toward danger, only to freeze. A lone warrior fought off a gang of bandits, swift, silent, terrifyingly precise. Hair tied, chest bound, eyes like ice. Every strike a prayer, every movement trained, not gifted. When the last bandit fled, Joon approached cautiously. "Are you hurt?" A glare, a blade lifted. "You assume too quickly." He smiled gently. Strength recognizes strength, even in silence. They shared a fire that night. She said little. He didn't pry, but he offered rice, and she hesitated, unfamiliar with kindness. Her name, he learned later, was Jae-yi, and though she wore a man's attire, he sensed a truth deeper than disguise, a soul fleeing chains. Jae-yi had once been Lady Jae-yi of Seowon House, daughter of a loyal general, born into gentleness, until palace corruption framed and killed her father. Her house burned, her mother fell to grief. At 13, she cut her hair, shed her name, and forged herself into a weapon. "If the world will not protect me, I will protect myself." She wandered, hunted and hardened, believing emotions were luxuries for safer lives. But when she met Joon, a humble man with quiet courage, a forgotten warmth flickered, and she feared it. Together with a loyal warrior named Hyun, they formed a bond forged in shared ideals. Around firelight, they swore to fight corruption, to defend the defenseless, to expose the rot staining the throne, not to rule, but to cleanse. Their journey began as whispers, but whispers become storms. Weeks passed since Joon and Jae-yi first crossed paths. The alliance grew. Farmers, scholars, former soldiers, mothers robbed by taxes, young men tired of kneeling. Joon's humble wisdom and calm strength drew people naturally. Jae-yi's precision and discipline shaped them. Slow-burn affection bloomed like spring after winter. Quiet glances, shared training, arguments that softened into laughter, wounds bandaged with trembling fingers. Joon became a leader without trying. Jae-yi became his shadow and shield. And Hyun, loyal and fierce, swore his life to theirs. Weeks passed since Joon and Jae-yi first crossed paths. The alliance grew. Farmers, scholars, former soldiers, mothers robbed by taxes, young men tired of kneeling. Joon's humble wisdom and calm strength drew people naturally. Jae-yi's precision and discipline shaped them. Slow-burn affection bloomed like spring after winter. Quiet glances, shared training, arguments that softened into laughter, wounds bandaged with trembling fingers. Joon became a leader without trying. Jae-yi became his shadow and shield, and Hyun, loyal and fierce, swore his life to their cause. Whispers spread across villages. There is a man who fights for justice. There is a woman warrior who fears no sword. There is hope again. Rumors reached them. Girls taken by bandits that served corrupt ministers, sold into hidden Kizeng houses. Jae-yi's jaw tightened. Joon's eyes hardened like steel tempered in sorrow. They launched a rescue mission. Night, torches, silent blades, screams muffled. Doors kicked in. One by one, terrified girls freed into the night air. But during the chaos, Jae-yi was seized from behind, drugged, dragged away. Hyun fought like a storm. Joon nearly felt a fury, but the alliance dragged them out. Retreat, gather strength, return. Joon promised the wind. I will bring you back. Even if I burn the world unbeknownst to them, the king had been watching the corruption simmer. He knew, and waited for the right moment to act. When news reached the palace of abducted women, the king unleashed royal troops to seize every corrupt official and their forces. A storm of justice, late but real. In the chaos, Joon and Hyun, mistaken for rebels, were seized and thrown into prison. Joon whispered Jae-yi's name each night, knuckles bloodied from labor, heart burning across the walls that held him. The freed women were brought to the palace for protection. Among them, Jae-yi. When the king saw her, he froze. Her face, familiar. Her father's eyes. The daughter of the loyal guard who once saved his life. A promise resurfaced. A vow made long ago to honor that family with royal marriage alliance. Jae-yi, stunned and heartbroken, was escorted to royal quarters, taught court etiquette, prepared, unwillingly, to become the wife of the crown prince. Every night she stared at the moon, whispering Joon's name like a prayer trapped behind silk and duty. One night, while Joon slept exhausted, the pendant around his neck slipped into view. A guard gasped, ran into the night, returned with a man, So-hwa's brother. He saw Joon's sleeping face, the king's features in his jaw, So-hwa's spirit in his eyes. He wept quietly, unable to wake him, too stunned, too grieving. Instead, he rushed to the palace to tell the king, he lives. Their son lives. Before the king could act, the alliance acted first. A midnight prison break. Arrows, smoke, silent blades. Hyun dragged Joon out. Friends carried him. We rise now, for her, for justice. For all their army marched, not rebels, but righteous flame. As dawn broke, Joon's forces met royal soldiers. Steel clashed. Voices roared. Destiny collided with duty. Then, silence. The king stepped forward, sword lowered. He saw Joon's and knew instantly. His breath trembled, his voice broke. King, my son! Joon froze. Rage, grief, love, shock shattering inside him. The king embraced him, not as ruler, but as father. King, I am ready to lay my crown down. For weeks, father and son walked the palace gardens together, building a fragile bridge made of late forgiveness. The crown prince, corrupt and cruel, was exiled. The king fell ill shortly after, his body paying the price of years of regret. With his final voice, he whispered, "Do not inherit power, inherit purpose." When the king died, the alliance and people begged Joon to take the throne. He hesitated. A king should be chosen by the people, not by birth. But the people cried out, "We choose you." And at last he accepted. The coronation was grand, golden robes, silent drums, blossoms raining like blessings and ghosts. He bowed his head, not to receive power, but to accept burden. A queen must be chosen for him. Joon's heart ached, for the woman who taught him strength in silence, for the warrior who saw him before the world did. He braced himself, until the veil lifted, and there she stood, Jae-yi in royal silk, but with the same warrior flame in her eyes, both breathless, both trembling. The world blurred around them. Jae-yi, softly, "I never bowed to fate except now." Joon, tearful, "You were my truth before I knew my name." They stood, not as prince and bride, but as equals shaped by battle, loss, and impossible love. And the nation witnessed not a union of politics, but destiny fulfilled. No throne forged them, no palace defined them. They rose from soil and steel, from wounds and whispers. A king crowned by integrity, a queen forged by sacrifice. Together they ruled not above the people, but with them, born in shadows, reunited in light, throne of shadows.